welcome to this evening's presentation. Some of you might have heard, some of you might have missed. We're starting this impulse on what's my story, and we're going to be combining it along the way with performances of, different kind of artistic venues of people doing, storytelling, performances, rituals, ceremonies. So we're real excited about weaving these two aspects together for supporting the global evolution of humanity. And so we wanted to start this evening with our wonderful elder Ada Robinson, who carries so much history and so much beauty and wisdom in her being and her ancestry. And before we turn it over to her, as I shared this morning, I found a very beautiful gentleman who I asked to also kick off this series with a poem. And so this is his rendition of a beautiful poem that we'll use to start this series.
Mr. and Miss No Name, brown eyes, blue eyes, brothers and sisters wrapped in various colors. What's your name? I want to know your name inside your name. My name is Ancestral Spirit, and I have traveled through the centuries, bearing witness to all of humanity's ills. I've seen the hatred, destruction, injustices, and crimes and wars. What's your name? I want to know your name inside your name. My name is Ancestral Spirit, and I have traveled through the wonders of the cosmos. And I have also seen humanity's faith and love and laughter and prayers, sorrows and pain. Yes, and the pain too. What's your name, Miss No Name? Your name inside your name. It was early one morning when a voice came to me out of the blue. And this voice said, Ancestral Spirit, it is time to heal the pain that dwells within, the pain that has been carried on the wind for centuries, growling like a tiger, prowling in the night. And the voice kept saying, Ancestral Spirit, it is time to heal the pain. It is time to see beyond color, beyond all that's visible. Like the beauty of a rose still in the bud, to see the beauty of the butterfly asleep in the cocoon, to see beyond prejudices and shortcomings, and to know that you can't tell a person, and you can't judge a person by the way they look. Are we ready to be healed? What's your name, Mr. No Name? Your name inside your name. After all we've seen and felt and experienced, we pray that eyes be open to see past the color we're born in, past the accident of birth, past the body body we wear, past the given name, that is beyond all gender, the most wonderful, the most holy, the most divine in all of us. So let us tell our story, dance our dance, sing our song, and know that we are being healed. Broken hearts are being healed. Broken minds, broken souls, broken spirits are being healed all over the world. As we continue to tell our story, and as we travel through the crowded streets of life, may our name, inside our name, love, truth, beauty, goodness, forgiveness, grace, be ever present with us. What's your name? Your name, inside your name. Could it be something like God?
So I hope you enjoyed that. It's, for me, just so beautiful. I love listening to it. And so with no further ado, I'm just, again, so delighted and honored to present Ada Robinson. So turning it over to Ada.
I'm taking this opportunity to just be here, thanking each of you that come under the sound of my voice for just listening. It's a time in history, the world that we all inhabit is in upheaval. There are global warmings, destructive storms, and devastating fires. Pandemic that has taken so many individuals out of their body. Economy in crisis and racial upheaval. Those are all crises that we all face. Can we agree that it is time that we come together to bring about a change? Life is constant change. We must be willing to change, otherwise we will break. When we all decided, and everybody here today decided to come to this school, we came here to change something within ourselves. Therefore, every one of us has a story. In our stories, there's pain, there's joy, there's every experience we've ever had. I wonder what each person's story is when I meet them. Meeting someone and learning their story gives you an insight into the person. Because we are here at this moment, but our journey, our experience started in our ancestors. What's your story? Just feel into your story. What is your story? What is your country of origin? Where did you come from? How did you get here? Many people came here because they chose to be here. But my ancestors were stolen, were bought, were pushed into ships and brought across water without their permission. My people feared, and many of them ended up in the bottom of the ocean, on soil in this country that they knew not of. People that they didn't know, didn't even speak the same language. Within that group, they didn't speak the same language because they didn't come from the same place. When you ask someone, or when you see a person, a Black person, people automatically say they came from Africa. Africa is a continent. Within there's many countries and many dialects, much culture, food that we eat. But I will never know what that food was for my ancestors. I'm sure that most people that come, natives that's in this country, people, regardless of how they got here, come from other countries, know their culture, know where they came from. When you share that information with your children, they can stick their chest out, proud of their ancestors and where they came from. But me, my parents never wanted us to know that they were slaves. They had no history to tell us. All we heard was that you are not qualified. And as I moved, as my ancestors moved through slavery, and during the time that I was born in a small town called Helena, a small town in Arkansas that lay against the banks of the Mississippi River. No factories, no nothing. Schools was obsolete. I had to work, pick cotton. So there was richness for those with privilege. But each one of us got a story, and there's pain in every story. But somewhere, as you're born, there's your parents. For your parents, if you're European, you are white, your parents are excited. I have this new baby. Oh my God, it's a beautiful baby. They have infinite possibilities for this child. But when my parents brought a child into the world, it's fear. It's how do I protect my children? How do they move beyond where I am? What do I do? If you are an energy worker, which everybody is, you feel the difference in the energy. When this child come in an energy of fear, an energy of doubt, and all they meet was someone that says you can't, then you fall into a category. Just like a little white child falls into a category. And to get to a different place in consciousness, you have to have change. But all of the things that create change come unequal to people of color, especially Black people, people that didn't even ask to be here. And as you move through and you have children, we evolve. And we have evolved to a place in our consciousness where change must happen. There's no longer any weight. Wherever there's a weak link, there is no strength. If we don't emerge as one to bring about change, there will be destruction because a divided house is weak. I've had to jump through hoops, sneak through back doors just to go to school. That cannot be wasted. Yes, I've had many blessings, but I had to get them from a higher source. And if everybody open their eyes and see the love in the hearts of the individuals, we can move forward as a whole. But wherever there's a weak link, there is no movement other than trying to fix the link. It's time to stand up and be what we say we are. We say, I can go out of my door and I can see all the churches with all of the people lined up When we came into this country, we had in our hearts righteousness. And righteousness is the only way we can see people as one, as brothers and sisters, using our hearts, the love that's embedded in each one of us, to see goodness. We must be strong enough to move ourselves and not be a part of anything that is not going to lead us to where we say we want to be. God created us innately good. And I notice in my life, even when things are not going the way I think they should go, if I can find the goodness, I can move the mountain. So each one of you out here today, I know, have goodness. I have, through it all, I have raised young adults that contribute to this society. I have 5 generations, but I had to step over and through pain, lack, and limitation. And those days are over. We as a people must change. Because if we use our rigidity to stand God at a door, it will break. So you are here because you embrace change. And we have to choose what that change will be. And I choose by looking at the outcomes. What outcome do I want? And from that place, it's from that place that I can push off like a runner that's running a marathon. Now, each one of you got a story. And I tell you about me. I'm an individual. So remember, there are people of color, people that's in pain all over. And it's our job to be the mirror and help them know that they're not broken. And we are all part of the solution. And if we're not a part of the solution, we are part of the problem. So who are you? What's your name? Where is the goodness in you? And are you ready to take the step that we need to take to make the move that we need to make to get to the place we need to be as a country, as a world? I asked that you consider what your part is and step forth. We all have a part in bringing about change. And thank you. Any questions? I'll do my best to answer. And if I can't answer, I'm so sure that some of your teachers or some of your friends that are in a righteous place will give you an honest answer. And so it is. Any questions?
Ada, hi, my name is Valerie, and I have a question.
Hi, Valerie.
Hello, and thank you. You have an extraordinary story. And if you were to pick one skill, something of you, what enabled you to grow and to beat a system that was in place to actually hinder any effort to break through and live as a community within this country at that time and even and sometimes today?
Well, it started when I was a child. That's why I can feel so close to the God that lives in me and all of us. My parents were very rooted in the Jim Crow era, the era where you couldn't look in the eye of another person if they were white. You couldn't defend yourself. So I had to take the role based on what I got in here and help them make decisions that brought us to a different place. So God says she will use babies, whoever listens, because if you use a rock, he'll use each one of us. And angels through the years came along and helped.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking.
Hi, Ada.
Hi.
I'm wondering where do you go within yourself to find forgiveness when in those awful moments that you must have experienced growing up? Where do you go to find that?
It's a place deep inside of you where God lives. And that's where you go when you're scared and you have to do it anyway. When you're lonely because no one wants to associate with you. It's okay. I go in there and I can have so much fun. And I get my directions from there.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Ada, I have a question.
Hey, go right ahead.
Can you talk a little bit about how you personally were able to deepen your connection with your ancestors to receive guidance, to feel their love and their strength, what tools really helped you to have that powerful energy behind you, which I feel we can hear when we hear you speak?
My mother was a twin, and her mother died at birth. So she never let go of being, excuse me, I got it. She never grew up at all. So, excuse me. So I had to be the one to protect her, and I didn't know how. So I had to ask in here. And she had 14 children and one set of twins, and they were and she had to work. She worked picking cotton and chopping cotton, which is very, very hard on the body. I did too. But I didn't want to do that. And my father was afraid that I might get beat because you had to ask people for water. And and these were white males on horses. They may give you the water or they may throw it on you. And I would have a reaction. So I stayed home and I had to wash, cook, clean, and do things I couldn't do because I was too small. But they got done because I just asked. Kill snakes, protect the children. Those kinds of things can make you strong. I really didn't look for that to be strong, but those kinds of things were the things that came along and stimulated a need in me to have help, and I could only get it by asking in here. And anything you go to do, if you ask and wait upon the answer, sometimes it sounds so crazy, you're like, are you for real? But if you do it, you will get what you went in there to get. It takes work. It takes commitment. Commitment to something different, something new, to be what you came to be. And we all are innately good. And we came to be good. But it's not always pretty to be good. It's just not. But it's so joyful because the outcome brings you into full blossom. And even though it may not seem like it sometimes, you guys are on a beautiful journey. So beautiful.
Ada, I have a question.
Okay.
I'm a little intimidated because you're so wise, and I'm afraid it's going to sound stupid.
No, no, there's nothing stupid about any of us.
But what you just said really caught me around asking for help
Mhm.
and waiting for an answer
Yes.
and then acting on it.
Mhm.
And I think my grade is like a D- in this. I struggle with this.
Mhm.
I'm not sure that I'm asking maybe in the right direction, and maybe I'm not listening in the right way,
Mhm.
and maybe I'm hearing too many things coming through. Maybe some of them are from my mind that I should ignore, or I can't tell where they're coming from.
Sometimes the unknown is all we need. Okay. The key is inside of you, you know, you always know. Sometimes we don't want to know. You know, I was a student, and if someone says something and I think that I know best, I really don't want to hear what they got to say. So if you don't want to hear on the outside, there's times you don't want to hear on the inside either. It's part of growing up. Just keep listening and keep moving. And always ask, because God is not the only one that talks to us. Okay?
Thank you. Thank
Wow.
Ada, what advice would you give to all of us in school as change makers in this new era that we find ourselves? What advice from all of your wisdom and experience?
Well, one thing I believe in is moving by faith. And sometimes moving by faith means you got to do it afraid. Okay. When I first came there, and there were 250 students in our class, and there were 4 Black students. And of course, when there's only 4 of us, they put one way over there, another one way over there. So we didn't see each other all the time. All we saw was a bunch of white teachers and students. Okay. But when you are someplace, you're there because there's something that you are there for, and that's to learn. And as you go deeper into yourself, you're going into unknown territory that we don't dare touch. And emotions are going to come and they're going to ride high. But as you move through the school year, after a while, you can reach back and catch another student that's coming along and say, you can do it. God got you. Your fellow students and your teachers, every last one of them have been where you are. They had to be student first year, second year, all those years. And each year, you find a little bit more of yourself. And the more of yourself you find, the stronger you become.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Can you tell us more about that experience for you of coming to school and not seeing anyone that was like you, that feeling so, I don't know how you felt, but I can imagine.
Well, when you get to be my age, you've been in many places, in the university, in everywhere I've been, because you got to remember, we are paving the way for the young. And if I didn't do it, I had to do it afraid, but if I didn't do it, my children and many other children, I have lots of children that I didn't birth, would not have made that step. I was the first person in my immediate family that went to college. But behind me, there's a whole drove of them running big companies and doing things. So coming into the school, seeing all white people was not the problem. It was them seeing me, okay? All of you have to learn, it's not the problem of me seeing them. I've been seeing them all my life, okay? It's them seeing me. That's why it's important that you learn my story. When you see me in the street, I look like any other little Black woman. But I have a story. And being interested in my story allows me to feel you, to know, oh, wow, she cares about me. It's a togetherness we must have to make the change. And you can't make it if you're afraid of me. But just think about how you might feel, because we're mirrors. If you had to walk into an all-Black setting, it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's finding those pieces that need to be healed. Because as you come to do this kind of work, the best client you run into could be a big Black woman or a big Black man. And you may learn so much about yourself from them. But if you're afraid of them, anybody, Hispanic, Indian, anybody, you're afraid of them, then you can't use all of you to connect, to be in love.
Ada, it's Janice one more time, if you don't mind.
Go right ahead. Yes.
You've been speaking about fear of, people being afraid of you, or you having to deal with your own fears.
Mhm.
Are you afraid of anything now? You've done so much work over your life. Of course.
Well, yes. You're a human. You're not going to take the human part and put it over there and say you don't react. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. I recognize when I'm in fear. And I don't kick it to the side because it's part of me. You don't dissect part of you and get rid of it. You face it and says, go to your room. I'm going to do this. I mean, my husband says, you're really going to do that? Yes, I'm going to do that. Climb a mountain, climb up a ladder, do whatever it is. My children, you should have a talk with them. They would think their mother is crazy sometimes because you do it afraid. Otherwise, all kind of fear, because fear is not of God. When it's something you need to really fear, you will get a confirmation. Fear is not of God. Fear takes you away from doing what you need to do. God lives in here. God said, put no one, no anything before me. So if you letting these things pull you away from you, then you might as well just do whatever. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ada, I've been reading we're in first year and reading about the balance of will and emotion and working through that dance. And I think given your history, there must have been times where you had to rely more on will to push through to get something. But how did you navigate that dance for yourself as you were paving a path for your children and your grandchildren?
Well, will is sometimes very important. There is no part of you, okay? You dealing with your defense systems. Every last one of them have a place. It's when you use whatever tools you got. I'm gonna build me a house. And I'm gonna try to build this house with a saw only? No, okay? It's how you use what God has given you. That's all we're talking about, how you use them. You know, when someone do something to me and I really don't like it, you see, I come from a time when you couldn't even tell me my eyes was brown because I was angry. Okay? But I learned that that was not gonna get me what I was looking for. So if you're mean to me, that's on you. It's not on me. I keep doing. You are my teacher. Everybody that cross your path has a piece for you. Either how they treat you and what you do about how they treat you. Everything in that relationship is important. It's got a teacher. We're always learning. We're always in school. And our teachers are all around us. We don't have just one. and you are always teaching, and somebody's always teaching you. That's life. Even your, if you got children, you got little animals, everything in your path is teachers in it.
Ada, this is Kathy.
Hi, Kathy.
And I have a question. I've got so many questions, but this one is sticking out for me right now. I have a friend who grew up in Chicago, and she was saying that when the busing started, it completely broke communities up and, in a sense, disabled the communities and took the strength away from family and the communities, whether it be Italian, Hispanic, Black, or whatever. And I know that busing was initiated to try to balance the schools. Of course, in my thinking, they should have just funded them all the same and forgotten it. But what could have been done to make that easier or better? What would have been
To
a kinder way to go about it?
being equal.
Yes.
Okay. That's what all of this is about. White privilege, and they put no money into anything else. So if there's no money, then we come in to find a place so our children can learn. And that's what that was about. Okay. Have they been funding all schools the same, being fair and equal, recognizing people as people, there wouldn't be any problem.
Right.
But all these years, Black people are animals, so they don't need. And so then they got to try to get. I've watched neighborhoods where, and I know people, they wouldn't allow you, they tell them they sold, they rented. Okay? And a white person could come up and rent that house. That's what all of this is about. And it hasn't changed. It goes under the cover and they say, oh yeah, we're gonna do this. And then it doesn't happen. That's what the fight's about. You know, everybody approached the situation differently. See, I've worked in the system. I know how the system works. So but you got to go in the back door, but I don't care. I got in that back door and decided I was going to run the place, and I did. Okay. People, the God that Black people had when they walked into this country was taken away, and it gave them your God. Okay. So they didn't teach them how to use God because they were using God to control these people. Okay. To know how to benefit from God, you've got to be able to study God. Just like to know me, you got to study me. For me to know you, I got to study you. I got to know what you like. Know culture. That is important. That's okay. That is important. It's important to all of us to be able to know each other. That's the only way it's going to be changed. And all children, every child, my mother couldn't read. That impacted my life. My father didn't have an education. That impacted my life. So These kids deserve an education. If you're gonna put the money over there, I'm going over there.
Do you think they should have, well, they should have just spread the
They should have done. We
Just-
have no idea. Okay, that's in the judgment field. I don't have any idea.
yeah.
Now, at least they did something.
Yeah.
It might be a mess, but they did something.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, Ada.
Hi, how are you?
Hello, my name is Lau. I want to ask you on your perspective of studying God and what that looks like. Yeah, I already feel so inspired by you, and the meeting God is like studying God is, yeah, it goes before everything, as you said, no? So if you have any words on how to study God, I would love to hear them.
Okay.
Thank you.
So what year are you in?
I think she's asking what's your name.
She asked what my name?
I think so.
My name is Laura.
Okay, and what year are you in? Are you second year, first year?
What year are you in?
Oh, I'm in second year.
Okay. Well, what I see for you is a beautiful, beautiful future. There's a powerful healer. And a light for all those that come before you. Feel your heart. Okay. Any other questions? If not, so Lisa.
Hi, Ada.
Did we have any other questions? I think we had a couple of people pop up.
Is that okay? You know? Hi, Ada. I'm
Hi.
Yvonne in Colorado. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. I'm sorry, unfortunately, I got in on your story later. I got the end pieces, but I was wondering if your story is either like on YouTube or in a book that I can, really connect with.
Not yet. It's being done, but it's not yet. Okay. But I'm sure you'll hear some of it. I think Lisa says she has it taped. So
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. I look forward to connecting.
Me too.
God bless you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, Ada. Um,
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you? My name's Nikki and I'm in my 4th year. And I first want to just say thank you. I was able to be in Healing the Racial Divide and really appreciate you being here with your story. And something that you touched on a little bit that I was hoping you'd be willing to presence a little bit more as we're all raising our consciousness, right? And we all are at different experiences and different education levels with white privilege, and in some ways, like the real history of our country. You referenced very briefly coming to Barbara Brennan, and you said there was 4 of us in my 250 person class, and they spread us out. And in my education, I learned that that's like being the only chip in the cookie, right? Like you're bringing in someone and then they're in this primarily white environment. And so I was wondering if you could speak a little more on what your experience was like at the school at that time, if you're willing.
Well, my experience at the school was something that I enjoyed. Okay, as a student, I enjoyed my classes. I had my times when you butt head with your teachers, and I'm sure you know that. But overall, at the school, it was a good experience for me because I came to the school to learn. I thought, you see, when you come to a school, you think you're going there to learn something. I run a place called the Village of Natural Teaching. And I was doing this before I even knew that this school existed. And I learned about this school through an experience, which was a racist experience, but I learned about the school. And my spirit told me to come to the school. I didn't think I needed no school, especially a school that says, I can't talk about God, okay? Because then you are in defense. Well, I probably was. But the key is I was in this stage of rebelling. Because when we don't want to look at ourselves, we go into rebellion. I know where I was. It didn't make it no better experience. Because I am who I am today because I went through the school. Because I have learned that the way God, the universe works, I'm his child. All of us are his children. But we came to do a job. And sometimes you have these gaps in your training. And you come by here just to get something to move on to the next place. If it hadn't been for this school, I wouldn't be talking to you today. I'd have been talking to somebody somewhere, but it wouldn't have been right here, right now. So I can't say anything about any of my teachers, whether I enjoyed being with them or not, I learned from them. Every experience got a teacher, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. So I got the teacher's lesson from all the teachers that I interacted with. The students. I mean, I have friends that are still my friends from school. I have a large population of clients that are white. I've learned to live with white folks. Where I live, there was a modern day Ku Klux Klan meeting to run me out of town, but I'm still here. When you live in here with the God that lives in you, then there's no harm that you can bring to me. I can bring it to myself by my reaction to you. But since I'm not a reactor, that's a learned behavior that I managed to get through many situations. Okay. So I enjoyed every teacher I had because students do that. If you look at your teachers, I'm sure you enjoy them. They all bring something to the table. Does that help?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Ada.
Okay.
Hello, Ada.
Yes. Hi, how are you?
I'm well. How are you tonight?
I'm wonderful.
Good. My name is Suzanne, and I'm just sitting here in such a glowing, positive transference with you. You remind me so much of my grandma.
Oh, wow. That's good. That's a blessing.
And it's her birthday today, so I've been thinking about her all day.
Okay. And see, it's a blessing then.
It's a blessing, yes. And something, she's been gone for 23 years now. But something she talked about was in her life, how much change she had seen. And
Yeah.
you touched a lot on how much change you've seen in your life. And here we are on Zoom in a time of a pandemic. And I'm wondering if you have any words around change.
Well, if I had, honey, I wouldn't be here. I've seen so much change, and it's like I have children. And children can be a blessing. I have grandchildren, great-grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren. And if I say I don't want a computer, I might as well not say that. If I say I don't want to do Zoom, I'm going to do Zoom because they're going to make sure. A part of it is, and I'm just, they don't want me to get so, they got to stop what they're doing and take care of me. They want me to keep functioning. And when you're using what God has given you, then you can keep functioning until it's time for you to leave the body. So if I couldn't use Zoom and what have you, yes, changing from, and I still have a problem with trying to swipe some card to get some money because it don't make sense for me to pay to get the money that I put in the bank. So some things I have real problem with and I just don't do them. And some things are fine.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, Ada.
Hi, how are you?
Good. This is Jill. I am in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Oh, wow.
And in education here and across the country. So really connected with your early stories and your later stories. And also the mother of a biracial child. So used to come to BBSH and also count people of color in trying to decide the safety of the space for myself, my process, and if the container would be safe enough for her one day, should she choose it. And so I just want to say deep thanks for showing up this summer and tonight. And thank you to Lisa and other folks, and for just really presenting your story. It's helping me in healing in a lot of ways.
Right. And I have biracial children too, grandchildren, and they're going to function fine. Because if we all come together the way we're supposed to, there'll be a place for everybody. Everybody. Okay. And that, as her mother, you know, when I was born, my mother and father, their concern was that I grow up without harm. Okay? That's what most parents do. So when she is growing up, your job is to fill her with love. Let her know that she's important. She's special. And she's going to do great things. That's your job. Give her to God, and God will protect her. You know, I have all these children, and my youngest daughter used to go to these parties. And it was during the time when they painted walls black, and you didn't know what these kids was doing in there. And my friends would say, "You gonna let your daughter go to that?" I said, "Yes." "You crazy." Now God went there before her, checked the place out, okay? Surrounding her and keeping her from all hurt, harm, or danger. And whenever anything got too tough, she would call, say, "Mom, come get us." Okay? You train your daughter in the way she should go and leave her alone. She'll be fine.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Please, sir.
Right here.
Right.
So I know, sorry, it's weird. I keep looking up at the screen and then I think I need to really be looking at the computer. I'm not sure where I'm supposed to be looking, and there's a few people in the audience. So I think should just look at screen. So thank you so much, Ada. It was always so beautiful and wonderful to see you and hear you. I have such deep love and respect for you, and I'm so happy that you're here with us at the school and helping, and just love you. And I hope that we're all able to do something that's very powerful in this movement as we continue to try to work to heal. So I'm hopeful, and each of us looking to do what we can in ourselves and in our community is so important. So thank you again so much, Ada, for being here, and I look forward to connecting you with you very soon in the future. And thank you again, everybody, and good night.